Hey guys, I'm Matt Hernandez, and today I'm going to show you how to fake a baseball action shot. All right, so we just got done with the senior shoot, and he played baseball. And normally, whenever I have a baseball player, as long as he hits, as long as he's not a pitcher only, then I always take batting pictures. And I like to take actual batting pictures where they're hitting the ball. Normally, we'll have the dad soft tossing or mom soft tossing or whatever, just out of frame, and I'll be kind of behind them so I can see them hitting into the field, into the outfield. But today we couldn't do that because we were on a really nice field, but unfortunately they were working on it. So we only had a limited area that we could use, and it was definitely too dangerous to be hitting balls. So because there were people at third and second. So rather than ask them to stop working, which I probably could have, but I thought that I just didn't want to disturb them that much. They were already nice enough to let us come on the field and use it. So I decided to fake it in Photoshop afterwards. Now, had I known this prior, we could have potentially gotten some kind of maybe a stick or something like that, or maybe even a string and hold it up, or some kind of like fishing line, maybe that's clear, and put it on the ball, attach it to it, and had it hanging in to the shot. So then you just clone that out. That would be one option, but we didn't have any of that because I didn't know beforehand. Because this is a situation that usually doesn't happen. So I wasn't really 100% prepared, but that's okay, thanks to Photoshop, because we can do it afterwards. So I'm gonna show you how I turned this shot into this shot with the ball in it. Okay, so let's jump into Lightroom real quick. Okay, so here's the original file. I am going to reset it. Okay, so there's the raw image, and you can see it's a little bit zoomed out, so we're gonna go ahead and press R to crop. There's still going to be a little bit of flare in there, not the end of the world. Ideally, that would be good if that was not in there, but it is what it is. We can get that out too. So I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit more and get the light in it, and we can probably get that out of here. Let's try this remove tool and see what happens. Okay, I did not need to hit generate twice there. You can see I haven't used this a whole lot. I normally do use Capture One, but I thought it would be better to use Lightroom here because most people do use Lightroom. Although I know there are some of you use Capture One too, which it's a great program. That's why I use it. But I thought we'd change it up a little bit and do it in Lightroom. Plus, there is a step that is better for Lightroom for this kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you that here in a minute. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see if we can get this flare out of here. This will be interesting to see if it can fix this. That did a pretty good job, but that's a little bit easier. So let's look at the different sections, or the different options here. Yeah, that did pretty good, honestly. It's a good start anyway. All right, so that's probably maybe we could probably adjust contrast a little bit in Photoshop, maybe with the curves adjustment layer or something like that. But that's not terrible. Before I go any further, I do want to show you the video, the behind the scenes video real quick so you can see how I set this up. I should have shown this first, but that's okay. We can look at it now. So I have my A9 III, my Sony A9 III and 24-70 G Master 2 2.8. So you can see where I'm positioned kind of behind him, and he's up even with the plate where he'd normally hit. And then we've got two lights. We've got the main light, the key light has a Manny Ortiz Beauty Dish. These are both FJ400s. This is the white Manny Ortiz Beauty Dish with the diffusion. And then we've got another light pretty much behind him, about 45 degrees, not exactly across. Now, so this light the main light is moved where he's looking into it. If it was going to be directly across from him, it would be more over here, but it's pretty much cross lighting. And you can see I've got a deep focus reflector there, and that's going to be the rim light that's going to mimic the stadium lights behind him. So I probably should have moved this light back a little bit or over a little bit this way. Sometimes I don't do that whenever I'm in a hurry and I'm trying to get done. I wasn't in a hurry necessarily, but you know, my assistant was also filming this, so I didn't want to get up and move it. I could have asked his mom to probably, but you know, that's okay. It's not that hard to fix, but that'll be a good thing to show you too, which we just did actually fix the majority of it. So, okay, just so you can see the lighting setup. I think I had these both on full power for this. I did have my A9 III, so I was taking advantage of the global shutter here. Let's look at the settings. It was 1/20,000th of a second, f4 ISO 250. So shooting action shots like this when they're stationary, now he's moving because he's swinging the bat, but he's not moving like left to right or back or towards me or anything like that. He's not jumping. He's staying in the same place, he's just swinging, so it was a lot easier for the autofocus to hold here. Now if he was moving, shooting f4 is a little bit more dangerous because then it may not stick, although the A9 III is so good, it's probably going to. But you gotta watch that if you have a camera that doesn't have the autofocus that the A9 III does. Okay. So let's hit my preset here, and that looks really good. It's a little too blue. I'm gonna raise the exposure just a little bit, and then I'm gonna warm it up a little bit too, just to get, it's a little bit too cool. That looks good right there. Okay, all right, so I think that's pretty close to being what we want. Yeah, all right, so then here's the trick. We have somebody hold the ball where it would be if he were gonna hit it. So I had him swing, I got a good swing, and let's look at the video real quick. I didn't actually even show you the video. Just showed you the setup. So let's play it here. So I just had him take a full swing, just like normal. And a couple takes, got it. And you can have him slow it down if you need to. But you want it to be full speed. The point of that is because you want it to look real, right? If they slow it down, it may not look as real. So, but that one ended up exactly what we want, nice and sharp, because I'm at 1/20,000th of a second. That should be sharp, and it is. And then, so then I didn't move, and I had his mom come in and hold the ball. I really wanted her to hold it behind a little bit more. Her thumb is in front there, which is going to pose a little bit of a challenge. I really wanted her to hold it more with her fingers behind it, but that's okay. This will still work. Okay, so now we want to sync these two. So let's reset this one. Now I want to sync these. I'm going to hold Shift Command S. All right, so we're going to sync everything except for masking and remove, because those aren't going to affect the final image. So we should be good now. Yep, we match. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the main image, the one that's gonna be the base image. Make sure they're both selected. You can press G for grid if you want. So we've got them both, and minus makes the grid a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm gonna hit Control, hold it, and click, and then go to Edit In, and Open as Layers in Photoshop. So now it's gonna open them on top of each other. All right, I'm gonna hold Option and click my green button here so that makes it full screen, and then press Command minus to zoom out. All right, so we want this one on the bottom, so I'm gonna hold Command and press left bracket so it goes to the bottom. So I'm gonna go to this one that I'm gonna mask out, and I'm going to press V for my move tool, and I'm gonna press the number 5, and that's gonna make it 50% opacity so that it's transparent. So look over here at opacity, now it's 50, okay? So now I'm gonna press Z for my zoom tool and zoom in. Press B again, and then I'm gonna grab this layer, I'm gonna move it until something is lined up exactly where it needs to be, which will be the corner of the plate. All right, so now I'm gonna press Command T, and I'm gonna hold Option, I'm gonna click on that corner. That's gonna make the anchor point for the transform that you're about to perform right there, okay? So now when I move it, it's gonna move it from that point, and then I can drag it down, and then now we should be lined up pretty close. So I can press Command 0, or Command 0 to zoom out. It's not exactly 100% perfect, but it's close enough. I didn't move, the camera angle moved a little bit, but we're good. So I'm gonna press Enter to apply it. Okay, now I'm gonna press 0 to make it 100% again. Zoom back in, and then we're gonna get our round marquee tool, and I'm gonna hold Shift and Option, click in the middle and drag out. Actually, let's press Command D to deselect. Let's do that again. Make it a little bit closer here. Okay, and then I'm gonna hit the mask button. So now the ball's masked, and we're gonna hit Control, click on the mask, and hit Apply Mask, okay? So now, we've got that layer without the rest of the layer that we didn't need. So that's gonna make your file size a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, so now, I'm going to select the object selection tool, and I'm going to go around the ball here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to back up. Let's press Command Z. I did that in the wrong order. Okay, let's deselect this, and then let's do that first. Let's do the object selection first. So I basically just press Command Z to go back in my steps. Okay, this is what we needed to do from the beginning. Instead of the marquee tool, that's going to select the ball. So I used the object selection tool here on the left, and then circled around the object that I wanted to select. Oop. Okay, we're good. All right, now I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm going to select the selection brush tool and hold Option so the negative sign comes up in the middle here. You can also click Subtract, either one. And I'm going to erase this where the ball wouldn't be, right? And then hold Option to toggle back to Add, and I'm going to add the circle there, or add to the selection to make it a circle. Okay, I think we got the ball selected pretty good. Okay, hit Enter. Or I'm sorry, hit V, and then now it's going to make it my selection. Then I'm going to hit the mask button, and then now we're masked. Now, if she had been holding it the right way, if I had been paying attention and knowing her thumb was over it, then we'd be good to go. Right there, you just flatten it, and that's it. We're going to have to fix it, and that's okay. So let's see what the best way to do this is. All right, so selection looks pretty good, I think. I'm going to get my brush tool. White adds to your selection and black subtracts from it, so make sure you're on your mask. And if you hold Control and Option, you can make your brush bigger and smaller, softer and harder by mousing up and down and left and right, okay? I'm going to zoom in a little bit and make it a little bit harder. I'm going to go to like 83% and hit X, so black is my foreground color, and then black subtracts, right? So I'm going to paint away. I'm just going to make this a little bit more of a round selection here. You can press X to go back and forth between black and white. There we go. All right, now we're good. Okay, so I want this to be non-destructive, but I want to try to use the healing brush over here. And we're going to do the remove tool actually, but I don't want to damage either one of these layers. So I'm going to click on the top layer. I'm going to press Shift Option Command E. That's going to make one layer of everything visible on top. Right now, if I mess something up, then it doesn't matter. I can just delete that layer. All right, so let's go in here and see how this does. If I try to do it with just this tool by itself with nothing else. Hit Enter. It's going to remove that. Did pretty good. Did real good actually. So if we turn it off, so I can even, if I want to, mask this, get my brush, B as my shortcut to select the brush, and then if I want to, I could maybe even like draw that away on the mask with black to see where I can maybe get away with what I can get away with not showing and what can show from the original layer. There we go. So I'm just kind of blending that in. If I pressed Option and click on the mask, you can see where I kind of like lightly blended it there. I've got my flow set to 10%, so it's going to build up where I'm painting rather than just do it 100%. All right, so that's it. That's good right there. All right, now you can see Lightroom with that content aware. That is a little bit, there's a line there. Not the end of the world. Again, we can probably fix that with the remove tool, just like we just did. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, you can't make that softer and harder. That's what I was trying to do there. Okay, so let's just draw them that line and then hit Enter. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so now let's merge this all together because we know we've got the baseball good. All right, before we fix that, Command 0 to zoom out. So let's press on top. Well, let's just make one more combined layer. Shift Option Command E. just till we know we're good. I don't want to delete anything or flatten anything until I know that for sure that I'm good. So now I'm going to select the remove tool and just draw on that line that you can see from Lightroom. And hopefully this will take it out. It made a worse line. All right, so we're learning so it's doing a good job, but you can see the outline of it. So let's do something different. Let's select the old school healing brush. Hold Option and then heal. Yeah, now there's no line. I'm sampling and then painting. This is the old school way that you used to have to retouch. Haven't done this in a while. You can see there's a little bit of a line here too. So I'm going to sample there and then just paint. I'm lining up the bleachers there so that they, whenever I heal, whenever I paint with the healing brush, that they line up. So let's sample there. This net might be a little bit hard to work with, but not that big of a deal. Let's go to the remove tool and then just draw right there and see what it does. So hindsight, looking back, I probably wouldn't have done that in Lightroom knowing that it was going to make that line that I didn't notice. But again, I mean, this is not the end of the world. Usually the remove tool does pretty good, and it is. Yeah, now we're good. Okay. So now the only thing that else you can do to fix that maybe is, I'm going to press V for my move tool and then go back to, I always go back to that move tool just so I don't do anything I don't need to do. I'm going to go and make a curves adjustment layer in my layers palette, and then I'm going to get this little hand with the arrows and click right there so I know where I'm at on my curves, and then drag that down to make it a little bit darker. And then I'm going to select G for my gradient, and you want to make sure that you're on multiply and you're going from white to black. Make sure white's your foreground color, and then I'm going to click in the area that, so I want that gradient, the gradient to show up on the mask right here where it's going to be darker for that curves layer. So you can see it's making that area darker that I've got the flare. So basically we're on the mask and we're just going to fade the mask right there. I'm just going to go around and click and drag a few times. Like that. Now if you turn it off, there's off and there's on. So that definitely helped. Okay, now that flare is not really that noticeable. Okay, all right, so we're good to go. So we went from that to that. A few extra steps with the remove in Lightroom, and that's something that, for me, you know, those little lines right there, I notice stuff like that. Not everybody's gonna notice stuff like that. So if you wanna leave them, if you're good with that, then, you know, it might be okay. But I'm a perfectionist and I want everything to be exactly perfect, especially if it's a good picture like this. So I know he's gonna like this one, so I wanna make sure there's no errors in it, nothing that, that he might find later and be like, oh, what's that line up there, you know? So I would rather take care of it, but you know, that step is totally up to you. So now we're gonna go to these little bars up here on our layers and then go to flatten image. And one more thing, now speaking of that, I'm gonna get rid of this blue patch of sky right here because there's a couple more. Because I want it to be cloudy. If it's cloudy, I want it to be cloudy. I don't want any blue showing through. Even though it does match his uniform, their colors are blue. Their color is blue. All right, that's good. All right, so now we're just gonna press Command S. It's gonna save it right back into Lightroom as a TIFF. I'm gonna press Command W to close, go back to Lightroom, and so we have two versions now. There's the one that we just did, and there's the one I did earlier. So you can see that the flare I fixed on the first one was a little bit more fixed there, but again, that's not that big a deal. I think either one's fine, probably. Yeah, so there you go. Now, obviously that's not ideal. You want to be able to shoot him actually hitting the ball, but you know, in this case, it was impossible. We couldn't do it, so we had to figure out a way around that. So I think this is a pretty good solution. There's a couple added steps in there with removing other things that, you know, that may or may not bother you, but that step's totally up to you. So, you know, if you want to just do the baseball, and if she had held it behind if I had noticed that her thumb was in front and had her change that grip up, then that would have been really simple and really quick. So, but hopefully that other stuff added to this video too, and you got something out of it. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notified when we post new content. We're gonna have a lot of new stuff coming. And also make sure you head to the website, Matthernandez.shop, and sign up for the newsletter so you can get notified when we post about new workshops, new videos, new classes we're gonna be releasing soon, presets, that kind of thing. So make sure you stay up to date. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.